I am online, live. So, hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear to you guys. It's funny, I'm making this video right now, and it's Hora of the Venus running. Beautiful, beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to discuss the placement of Venus in the second house of the Navamsa chart. And what happens when Venus is in the second house in the D9 of the Navamsa. And as you know, D9 is a very, very important chart. It shows the path. It shows the path of the soul. It shows the second half of your life. It shows the life after marriage. It shows life, you know, um, after maturity. That's what, you know, Navamsa shows. Navamsa is also known as a determinant of the strength of the planets. Like, how strong is your planet from birth to Navamsa, which can be determined through its Vargottama positions, through its exaltation, debilitation, friendly sign, enemy sign, neutral sign. So Navamsa is a very important planet. It truly will show what you're here to achieve through your physical world, through physical things. What is going to be the achievement, the mental achievement, the internal achievement. And for that, if you do not know, if you have what planets you have in your Navamsa chart, what's in your second house, okay, if your Venus is in the second house or not, for that, check out the links in the description, astrologykrs.com under shop section, where you'll find my report, consultation, and the link to my new online video school, Magha Vedic Astrology School. And as you know, I'm actually starting that early on August 20th instead of October because of huge request from people. So Venus in the second house, okay? Venus in the second house is a very beautiful position. It's a very beautiful position most of the time. Like, it can truly give wealth. It can truly give massive wealth after marriage. Because remember, especially now that we're discussing Venus. See, Venus represents the wife in a man's chart. Venus represents the love the woman gets in the marriage. Venus represents your earthly desires, which is what? Wealth, jewelry, gems, luxury. And Venus is also mainly devotion. What are you devoted to? What is it that one will find devotion to? And you're going to find, especially after marriage, devotion towards family. Family becomes this wealth for you, like you must have it. Like, such people actually, usually it's rare when I find where people do not want to get married or do not want to have a spouse or companionship or partnership. They always desire that. Venus in the second house will also give a very soft spoken wife. Very soft spoken wife. Even if Venus is in a masculine sign, Venus is in a harsh sign, there may be some harshness in the vocal cord, but the attitude, the speech may not be so harsh. But one thing I have noticed with Venus, okay, Venus gives wealth. Okay, Venus will give wealth in the second house through marriage, and in the second half of life, if let's say you're not married, wealth still comes in, depending upon what you're doing. It's just that with marriage, Venus makes it much easier. Venus is like, oh, you just activated me through a marriage ceremony, and I'm in your second house. I'm supposed to give you wealth. Okay, here's the wealth. Where if you're not married, then okay, Venus will be like, what is it that you're going to do to activate me here? Are you going to work with a female partner? Are you going to work with, clothing, perfumes? Are you going to work with cash money? What are you doing to activate me? Then those questions comes in. But when you're doing, you're a lawyer, you're a police officer, whomever you are, with Venus in the second house, with the marriage, it just activates your ability to find abundance. Okay, your ability to find abundance. Because regardless of what sign Venus is in, second house is the original second house of Venus with the sign of Taurus, the earthly sign of Taurus. And an earth sign, especially Venus, rules the earth sign. Its property is earth. More than water. Water becomes more of the Ayurvedic property. Moon and Venus become very watery planets in Ayurvedic astrology. But when you're looking at mundane astrology, if you're looking at a chart, what element is the element that helps us to get what we want, the resources? It's the earth element. Gold, jewelry, food, water, everything is on earth. So Venus represents that earth element. Okay, so here Venus wants to activate the earth element. So Venus will say, hey, if you're not married, then you're going to have to activate certain earth element, or you're going to have to work with earth element or feminine energy for me to be activated. But with Venus in the second house, definitely the relationship with the in-laws may not be there. It's just, you can try, but it just would not be there as well. And also with this shows that you might be the only sole earner, or especially after 42, you could become the sole provider, the sole earner in the family. Also, one thing you will notice with Venus in the second house, the relationship with the younger sibling may not be the greatest. Or if that is good, then your communication will dial down. You won't communicate so much with people. Your ability to mass communicate will not be there. Uh, or you will find a lot of like headaches in trying to communicate with people with this Venus. And also, one loves singing. One loves music and singing after marriage. Or in the second half of life, they'll suddenly be like, hey, why is it that I want to sing? Why is it that I want to read poetry, listen to poetry, listen or read poetries of Rumi and Hafiz? You will also notice with Venus, you will start making contacts with people from Persia. You'll start making contacts, people who are Muslims, people who are in Middle East. So it doesn't matter even if you're in India, somehow, some way, maybe you'll get an online friend, online connection with somebody from Persia. Like for example, like one person is doing something in their own country, then suddenly they meet a friend online who's doing exactly the same thing, and they connect on those bases. So even though they have never met, they're just talking and discussing the topics, that kind of similar to their lifestyle, and you make that connection. With Venus, you will start valuing the underworld. You will start valuing the underworld, meaning like if there was no interest in astrology, if there was no interest in occult mysticism, that interest will come. Now, one thing let me tell you, with Venus being debilitated in the Navamsa, if Venus is debilitated, first of all, you want to check what nakshatra Venus is in. You will notice this, okay? If Venus is in Chitra nakshatra in the Navamsa, so we're talking about Navamsa nakshatra. If Venus is in the Chitra nakshatra in Navamsa, you'll have the most gorgeous, beautiful wife. I mean, your wife will be so stunning that men will not be able to help themselves in hitting on her, connecting with her. And massive, massive wealth comes in. With Venus being debilitated, Uttra Falguni actually becomes very good for wealth in that case. With Chitra, Venus finds beauty. In Hasta, Venus finds healing. But definitely, just because Venus is debilitated, you can be so wrong with Venus. Let me tell you something about astrology. We don't, whatever we have learned about astrology may be something completely opposite. I can't even tell you the things that I've experienced in the past 2 days, just 2 days, last 2 days. Uh, Astrology is whatever you think is it's not it. It's not it. When you say, oh, big bala of planets, like, oh, sun receives its directional strength in the 10th house. What does that mean? What is that doing? There's gonna have to be revision of many things. Uh, this thing is mysterious. But let me tell you, debilitated Venus, I've never seen someone, especially in a second house, suffer financially. Unless there were certain combinations of two planets away from Venus. I don't know the name of the yoga, but I just know when it's formed. But Venus, you actually should be like, you know what? I wish my Venus is in Virgo, or at least in the Chitra Nakshatra side. For a man to have that, you will. Go check your chart. I don't know if anybody's married here with Venus in the second house debilitated. Your wife should be extremely gorgeous. Especially if in Navamsa you have Moon and Saturn together with Venus and Chitra, Nakshatra side of Virgo, or just any part of the Virgo side, you'll have the most extreme, beautiful wife. Like, your wife could look like Aishwarya Rai, Priyanka Chopra. I mean, it's just like stunning beauty. And it's beauty, stunning beauty. And usually, and I know I don't want to get into other signs or even this, it's just that most of you were commenting on the thing. So I wanted to do that. Exalted Venus, on the other hand, can make your spouse very picky and makes you much more devoted towards a goddess or god more than like wealth. You're gonna want devotion. You're looking for devotion. That's where you will feel valued. You won't care for money as much with Exalted Venus. You're looking for more devotion towards the divine, devotion towards a devi, like like for example, Exalted Venus person can become a bhakt of what's her name, Anandamai Moy, back in early 1900s. She died in 82, I think. That's Venus, man. That's so yeah. Venus will. I don't have too many bad things to say with Venus in the second house. The only thing that I saw was that the problems with in-laws always occur, or issues with joint assets occur. And with Venus, I have also seen that somehow, some way, a person loses interest in either communication or dealing with younger siblings. If you have a younger sibling, okay. So next week we'll discuss Jupiter, of course. But hopefully this has given some sort of a help. But like I said, there's much more taste when you have signs and the house together. It's very easy. You don't even need to wait for me to do all these things. You can just use logic and you'll get it. Or you'll just get it with my school, which will start in August. So if you haven't enrolled in it, just go to Magha Vedic Astrology Academy.com, or just go to astrologycares.com. You'll see the link there. Okay. So anyway, guys, we will see you tomorrow.